This week I finally got the game feeling less painful to playtest. So I moved around the movement system that I've been working on to my main world, and I got it working with the world generation setup. I redid the world generation so that it would work with my new character, as well as like moving some stuff around so that it was a little bit more optimized, because re-looking at it, um, some of the some of the stuff was a little questionable. But so I redid that, and then as well as changing the terrain material and adding grass using the PCG system. But before we go super into that, I wanted to talk about something a little bit different. So I've had another YouTube channel for a while that I wanted to do something more with, and I never really got the time, I never really got around to doing something. I recorded some videos, but I didn't really love them. It was just random stuff put together and I didn't love it, so I didn't end up like editing it down and publishing it. But I finally kind of have a direction for where I want to go with that, and my idea is playing a lot of like demos and smaller games and kind of going through playing them for a bit and then recording a video about some of the more advanced features of the game, what makes it interesting, and just kind of like a quick playthrough while I've already previously played through it, so I kind of know what's going on, as opposed to like a live look through where, you know, you're seeing everything at the same time that I'm seeing everything. And it's just kind of working my way through a game. Because I think that that's just overdone. And not that it's a bad system, but I just want it to be a little bit different and maybe be more interesting for the viewer. With that being said, let's actually talk about the game dev side of things. So the main goal this week was getting the game to feel better to move around it. For anyone who doesn't use Unreal, when I say I moved or the movement system, I don't mean I changed how fast the character walks. A movement system controls basically everything about how the player feels. Walking, running, jumping, camera controls, animation, turning, momentum, and how responsive the character is. This matters a lot because even if the farming system works, the game is going to feel bad if just moving around the world feels awkward. Since this is the part of the game the player is using consistently, I want to fix that before going deeper into farming mechanics. The old character worked, but the camera movement and none of the aspects of the character were very fun to playtest with. And so I'm gonna be spending a lot of time trying to playtest and work through things, and I don't want it to feel that bad. So movement isn't finalized. There's a lot of stuff that I want to still add in. Once we work with the skill tree, that'll be like a big thing that I kind of revamp is all that movement system just to make it work with what I want the end result to be. But for now, it looks so much better. Camera moves way more functionally. The character moves. There's some animations to work with it, and it's in a state where it's good enough for now that I don't really have to worry about it. So when moving my character into the project, the main things that I had to work on was editing my world generation. The world generator is the system that creates the terrain around the player. Instead of hand placing every piece of land, the game spawns a chunk of terrain as the player moves around. So when I changed to a new character, I had to make sure the world generator still knew where the player was and could keep spawning the world correctly around them. That's kind of the thing that sounds simple, but if one reference or connection breaks, suddenly the terrain system doesn't know what to do anymore. So I have like 4 blueprints running, right? A blueprint in Unreal is basically a visual script. So instead of only writing code, I can create a system of connected nodes. In this case, my terrain blueprint is the reusable object that represents a piece of land in the world. That means if I update the terrain blueprint, I can change how all those terrain pieces look or behave without rebuilding every single tile by hand. So the character blueprint is one of them, and that one literally just is, the character movements. So WASD, spacebar's jump, that sort of thing, right? I have my terrain blueprint, which just has the material on it and the PCG system. Now it does. It didn't before. It was literally just like a blank static mesh that was just a plane. surface, right, with a material on it. And then I had the and then I have the world generation blueprint, which is kind of the main structure of the entire system. Because what its goal is to look through, it's to look at the different blueprints and be like, hey, you should be generating the terrain here. And hey, you should be generating the terrain here because this is where the character is, right? In a farming game, interaction is everywhere. Looking at land and covering it, planting seeds, harvesting crops, opening menus, talking to NPCs, using tools, all of this eventually needs some kind of interaction system behind it. And I didn't have that at first, or I did in parts. So the character was actually calling the world generation to be like, hey, I'm moving, so you should generate now. And although that works, it's not very streamlined and it's not the best way to run it at all. We're just going to have it go to the world gen, and the world gen is just going to look at where the player is at all times and be like, hey, it's moving. I need to generate new land. And then it degenerates the land behind it, generates the land forward. We're in a good system, right? We're in a good shape. And that's kind of it in terms of what I've actually done. I do have plans for the future that I want to just kind of shout out real quick because the way that I've done stuff before is you have your terrain chunk, right? And then you have a box above it. And in that box above it is the collision. So it's checking to see if the player's in that collision box. And then if it's in that collision box, then I just would have like a little UI pop up, or it would just show something that'd be like, hey, you're in this box, so you can hit this button to interact with it. And although that works, the cooler and system that I want to end up going with is a system that it basically is a different actor that is with your character. It's like anchored to your character and it checks where you're looking. So it's very similar to the camera. It just like is a line from your camera to where you're looking. If you're looking at the collision box or the terrain chunk, then it'll be like, hey, you can interact with this. And I think that'll be nicer than just using the location of the character. I did some research trying to figure that out. So it's not ready yet. It's not finalized. But that's it. I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.